Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. Here in sunny southern Arizona, we enjoyed some extra rain yesterday evening, courtesy of Hurricane Hilary, but it has passed on now. The passage of Scripture we're looking at today speaks of the complete depravity of the ruling family of Jesus' day. We have Herod Antipas, who was a bad ruler. We have his wife, Herodias, who was an evil and vindictive woman. And we have their interactions with John the Baptist, who was a good guy. In Mark chapter 6, verses 17 to 23, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it says, "For Herod had sent soldiers to arrest and imprison John as a favor to Herodias. She had been his brother Philip's wife, but Herod had married her. John had been telling Herod, 'It is against God's law for you to marry your brother's wife.' So Herodias bore a grudge against John and wanted to kill him. But without Herod's approval, she was powerless. For Herod respected John, and knowing that he was a good and holy man, he protected him. Herod was greatly disturbed whenever he talked with John, but even so, he liked to listen to him. Herodias' chance finally came on Herod's birthday. He gave a party for the high government officials, army officers, and the leading citizens of Galilee. There his daughter, also named Herodias, came in and performed a dance that greatly pleased Herod and his guests. 'Ask me for anything you like,' the king said to the girl, 'and I will give it to you.' He even vowed, 'I will give you whatever you ask, up to half of my kingdom.'" What a mess. Herodias had married Philip to start with. But then Herod, his older brother, says, "I want her more." And so he took Herodias from Philip and married her. John the Baptist told Herod, "That's bad. You're not supposed to do that. You ought to let your brother's wife alone and let your brother and his wife's marriage alone. And you do your thing and let them do theirs." And Herodias just got as angry at that as she could be. How dare that itinerant preacher tell them what they could and could not do? How dare he think he could presume to tell us, the ruling family, how we're supposed to live? John the Baptist said, "You're not supposed to do that." And so she wanted to kill John the Baptist. But Herod protected John because he respected him. He used to listen to him. Didn't like what he heard, but he listened to him, and he recognized that God's power was with John. But then it comes time for a birthday party. Now, this is not a kid's party with balloons and cake and ice cream. This is an adult party with government leaders and hot and cold running waiters and way more alcohol than anybody ought to ever have anything to do with. And it's full of carousing and drunkenness. And his daughter, Herodias, comes in and does a dance. Now, the scripture doesn't describe what kind of dance she does, but chances are it was not a ballet maneuver. Chances are it was pretty vulgar and vile. And Herod gets all excited about it. And he says, "Honey child, I'll give you whatever you want, up to half my kingdom. You just tell me what you want. I'm so pleased by this dance that you've done." And the stage is set for one of the worst injustices the scripture ever mentions. We'll deal with that next time. But what Herod does is he makes a promise that he would regret. Never tell a selfish, vindictive person that you'll give them whatever they ask, because they're going to ask big. These people who were in power in those days, they ignored all standards of decency. They trampled over family values. They thought marriage was a joke. They have no integrity, and they don't have a lot of common sense. But they were in charge. But Jesus took over all of them. Jesus had an answer for all that depravity and all of that moral turpitude. Jesus helped us understand that we ought to beware of such people. We ought to pray for them, and we ought to trust God to make it right. This week, may God trust you, and may you trust God to make things right when you're surrounded by evil, ugly, vindictive people. God bless you.